Tensions have risen in the U.S. city of Minneapolis after protesters clashed with federal immigration agents following the fatal shooting of a woman by an immigration officer. Demonstrators gathered on Thursday to demand justice and accountability over the killing, which has sparked widespread anger in the city. As the protests grew, federal agents moved in using paper-ball guns and tear gas to disperse the crowd. At least one protester was arrested during the confrontation. Witnesses say a large group of demonstrators faced off with heavily armed officers, with some protesters carrying signs accusing immigration and customs enforcement, known as ICE, of violence. Let's now cross live to Atlanta, Georgia, where an immigration lawyer, Joseph Babalola, is standing by to help unpack the development. Mr. Babalola, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Good to have you here tonight. So the shooting of a civilian, yes, you're welcome. So the shooting of a civilian by an ICE agent has sparked widespread fear and also protests. Now, legally, what implications does this incident have for how immigrants communities perceive and also interact with law enforcement?
Well, for one, they need to be extremely careful. And that's because right now we're not living at very, very normal times, like everyone knows. So the number one thing that I tell my clients, and I think should be the watchword, is you really have to take care of yourself, especially when you're actually interacting with all these immigration officers and also people that work with ICE, because you actually don't know who they are. You know, they're actually masked and the whole nine. So you really need to be very, very careful. So my watchword is safety at this time. Everyone needs to be very safe when you're interacting with them.
Safety is indeed the word. I don't know if you know, but immigrants have been reported to be avoiding hospitals, schools, and also police stations due to the fear of ICE. I'm wondering what the potential legal consequences are when fear of enforcement leads to communities disengaging from public institutions.
Well, the fact is that they have disengaged, not disengaging, but they've actually disengaged. Now, I go to court a lot, and what I'm beginning to notice now is that even people that have cases, they don't show up to court anymore, right? People that need to do grocery shopping, they don't do groceries anymore. People have stopped going to churches. A lot of immigrants have stopped going to churches. A lot of immigrants, the rule now is if you don't absolutely have to be anywhere, you don't go because of fear of apprehension and the anxiety that is generally in the air. So generally there have been a tremendous amount of impact on immigrants, and when it comes to their mobility and their ability to be able to stay safely within their environments.
We also hear that protests have spread nationwide, highlighting concerns over federal immigration operations. So could incidents like this actually force changes in federal immigration enforcement? Do you see this softening, or perhaps maybe the system softening after this, or maybe even going in harder?
I don't see it softening. I think that the issues and the policy statements have actually settled right now, in the sense that immigration enforcement is going way, way on the hard end of the spectrum right now. And it's not ebbing at all. There have been a tremendous amount of apprehensions, and people have been apprehended, right, in all places that you can actually think of. So in terms of it softening, I don't see it. Now, in terms of the protests, like a lot of the protests are actually very, very combustible, in the sense that it just happens at the spur of the moment, either through social media or one of those. So I don't really see it softening, but I generally give it between 2 to 3 weeks, right? That's typically the lifetime cycle, and then things will generally begin to soften a bit.
Okay, Mr. Babalola, the mayor has rejected, he has asked that ICE move out of Minneapolis. I'm wondering what the federal response would be.
Well, the thing is, you need to first of all start with MBCA, which is the Minneapolis Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. The federal government actually wanted to start up some kind of investigation, and Minneapolis had actually stated that they wanted to join in that investigation, and then the federal government said no, that they were going to do it on their own, and then they now came up with their own causes of actually what happened. So in terms of looking at the generality of things, in terms of what the mayor said, The mayor is correct. The mayor actually controls his own mayoral district, like but in terms of actual power, right, because of the statuses of laws, federal always trumps state and state always trumps the city. So federal laws always trump. And like immigration law is federal law, at least in the United States of America. So whatever policy directives comes from the federal government always supersede whatever comes from the state and also the city.
Well, Mr. Babalola, it's a bad situation out there. Do keep safe. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.